Morning, peeps. I'm back yet again, and no solo reviews today. So, I'm not. I haven't suddenly turned into an analytical manager just because, or an analytics manager, just because I did a review with Solio earlier. But I tell you what, it has given me some pretty interesting ideas and something I'd never even considered. Because, to be honest with you, this pre-season, I am no nearer to finding out what my team's going to be than I was at the start of pre-season. If anything, I'm even more confused. I've had a no Salah, no Haaland. I've had a Haaland draft. I've had all sorts of drafts. The only one I haven't had is a Salah draft. And the closer we get to pre-season, the more I'm starting to think that it could well be Salah that goes in my team. A lot of people said he was going to pick Salah anyway, but that wasn't the case. But what's happened at Bournemouth is pretty bad. I mean, it looks like Christie's injured. Huijsen and Kirkes have obviously gone. But now the very important central defender looks like he's on his way to PSG. They've already changed keeper. They've looked pretty awful in pre-season, conceding 4 goals the other day, I think. And it doesn't look overly promising. And the other thing is, I'm not that keen on the likes of Saka. Who if I didn't have Salah, I'd be getting Saka, wouldn't I? Probably. I can't get the Arsenal striker. I can't get Isaac. So the advantages of not having Salah aren't quite what I thought they would be, because the other options are just not either not appealing or simply not available. And I don't want to just go without Salah for the sake of it. So I might well end up with him. But this isn't what this is about, this video. Because like I said, I did that solo video earlier on. A lot of you probably turned in your graves, didn't you? Seeing me do a analytics video earlier on. But what I learned from that, or what I kind of took away from it, was that we might, this season with the defensive contributions is like no other season, basically, isn't it? And we should be actually looking at playing the game a bit differently. So I've actually had a look based on what Solio wanted me to do. Actually, it wanted me to have a 4-5-1. And initially I thought, what a load of, what's gone wrong with this machine, I was thinking. But to be honest, the more I thought about it, the more it kind of makes sense. Because when I was looking at my non-Salah team, I was really struggling to come up with strikers. The only ones I can come up with were Strand Larson and Watkins, really. I didn't really fancy Chris Wood. I think he's not going to be as good this season, and he's got competition as a striker. This is non-available. João Pedro's not on penalties. Thiago, we don't know anything about. Isaac's pretty much a non-option. The Arsenal striker's probably going to be sharing time with Havertz, and we don't know if he's even fit enough to play yet. Ekitike for Liverpool, we don't know if he's going to be on the wing or as a striker, or whether Isaac's going there. We just don't know. And the options are so thin on the ground that this idea of 4-5-1 suddenly actually is not as silly as it might first appear. Now, the obvious drawback with a 4-5-1 is the bench, because you have to put 2 4.5 strikers on your bench, which is something I've never done before. But luckily, Mark Guiu, possibly on loan from Chelsea, should see minutes. Not many, but like he could get 1 point a game or whatever. Same with Barnes for Burnley. And, this looks an option. It takes advantage of the fact that the defenders, Murillo, Virgil van Dijk, obviously very good. Anderson at Fulham, he's another review pick. He is a review pick, come into prominence, but he is going to get... I mean, the thing with Anderson is that they only kept 5 clean sheets last season, but they probably should have kept more. and you'd expect it to the luck to kind of even out a bit this season. It would be surprising if we only got 5 again this season. Put Rondon in for his home match against Everton. But I put Pedro Porro in this one because I want to say something about Pedro Porro, because I was going on about him being a review pick the other day, and I think what I missed was that with the Maddison injury, Pedro Porro has actually suddenly become a much more attractive pick, because by all accounts he's going to be on free kicks, even direct free kicks, corners, everything. Now that Maddison's not there, Pedro Porro is going to have a much increased share of set pieces. That's the way it looks at the moment anyway. And you combine that with the nice fixture, and maybe he's worth a shout. So I've stuck him in this one just because really I just wanted to say that about him, that initially we thought he was rubbish. Then he turned up in review, so we thought, hang on, everyone's got him because he's in review. But it does seem like there is actually, like I said, some genuine reasons to think that Pedro Porro might actually be a better pick because of what happened to poor old Maddison. So, what are the advantages of a 4-5-1? Well, you get to have 4 really good midfielders. Also, I've got 1.5 million in the bank here for this team as well. So I don't have to have Rondon. I can have 5.5 million. I can have, I can double up on Palace. I'll tell you who I can have actually. Palace defender. And put Munoz in there. I know his first game week fixture isn't good, but he's pretty good after that. And this team, the advantage of this formation as well is you really don't need to make any transfers. You've got the captains. You've got Salah, Fernandes in game week 3, and Palmer if you need him as well. And it looks pretty decent. Obviously, you're not going to be getting many points from your strikers, and if a striker goes off, you're not going to get one. But the points that the defenders are supposedly going to pick up, if you don't like this character, you can turn him into Ndai or somebody else like that. I was actually thinking Soucek was a good little differential for West Ham. There's lots of options, or you can even go down to Anderson or Forest or whatever. Nice midfield. Expensive defence. It's still got Virgil van Dijk in that. I think Review got rid of Virgil van Dijk, didn't it? But still on here. Decent keeper. Might even get a backup keeper. And I think this formation is something we would never have considered, would we, before? We never would have done. But these defensive contributions, which are lifting up these players by 30 or 40 points, some of them, it does make a difference when you're comparing them with strikers who are the only group that have not had any upgrade whatsoever. And in fact, have had a downgrade because they're now less likely to get bonus points. Say Chris Wood. If I had Chris Wood in my team, last year he was getting 9 pointers every time they won 1-0. This season, chances are I'd only be getting 6 pointers because of the bonus system. The bonus points could go to the defenders in a 1-0 win rather than Chris Wood. So I'm actually looking at this now, seriously considering it. Obviously I seriously consider a different thing every day, like a lot of you probably do. But I quite like this. I quite like it. So if you like Saka, you can even fit Saka into this. If you just downgrade Munoz again to Rodon of Leeds, who appears to be the one that's quite liked. There you go. See that you've got Salah, Palmer, Fernandes and Saka, and still got a decent defence. You can go with a pricey attack and a crap defence. But according to Solio anyway, it's better to go with a better defence. And who are we to argue, really? Because we don't know any more about these defensive contributions, really, do we? We don't know the optimal way to play. But you suspect with all these extra defensive contribution points, it is going to change the way we think about playing the game, isn't it? So I don't think this would be very popular, this type of formation. So it would actually be quite a differential way to begin the season, even though I'd start with Salah, so I wouldn't be that differential. But in terms of the rest of the team, it would actually be quite a differential sort of structure, wouldn't it? So I'm having a look at that. Anyway, peeps, that's about it for that. You know, I don't know what else we can talk about, really. But I'm on Gary's stream again today. We're doing the pubcast again, going over various things. I think we're looking at chip strategies and all that. I'll tell you what, peeps, chip strategy does my head in. Does my head in. You know, I've looked at game week 1. Might well shelve all this and do a game week 1 bench boost. But honestly, like I said in that video about Solio, bench boost absolutely does my head in. So I'm thinking of just ignoring the chips, you know, and just, if I need one, I'll use one, basically. Or if I see a week where I might put a sneak a bench boost in, then I'll sneak in a bench boost. But other than that, planning for it, it's hard enough just planning to pick the team without adding all those variables in. It's absolutely mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling. So anyway, that's about it, you know. So it's interesting again with Solio, whether we start seeing funny thing is, I'm the team that's changed. I was talking about, I wonder if we'll see content creators now change their team, and I'm the one who's changed towards it, funnily enough. But you know, you've got to look at everything, and a 4-5-1 is not something I ever thought I would consider. But like I said, the striking options, I mean, even Watkins isn't safe, is he? Because he could end up being unsettled by transfer talk if he goes to Man United. I think United are after Sesko now, aren't they? Fighting Newcastle over him. Jackson might be on the move by all accounts. He's another one. Haaland, we don't really know what he's doing, do we? Very expensive. So yeah, I just don't like the striking options, really. I do like Watkins, and another structure I looked at here was actually Watkins is doable in a 4-5-1. So I've got 7.5. There you go, something like that. Whoever you obviously you won't like Souček, but there are other options at the price. So something like that's doable as well. Going with Watkins instead of Strand Larsen. So I don't mind that either. I mean, the advantage of this one here is if the Arsenal striker does go off, or Etitike, or the new Man United striker, whoever it's going to be, then that's an easy swap from Watkins. So maybe this kind of structure is better. You know, maybe this is better. You know, you can downgrade him to even a 5 million mid, can't you, really? There's quite a few of them about. Quite a few of them about that get defensive contribution points. Even Mr. Christie, if he's fit. Or somebody like that, or Belieber. And then you've got an extra million to do something with one of these. So I don't think there's really any decent strikers at 5.5 million, really. Not many either. There's the lead striker, but apparently they might come in for somebody. So you're probably better off. There's Muniz from Fulham. I don't know what he's doing. But you're probably better off just sticking with the 4.5s, I think, and just forgetting about them. But I quite like that structure there with Watkins. And the Strand Larsen one, actually. But I don't know which one I'll go with. Actually, that Watkins one. I think that Watkins one actually looks a bit better, doesn't it? Stick another 4.5 in. Go back up to one of these. Zubimendi's interesting as well. I think he's going to get quite a lot of defensive contribution points. Zubimendi could almost make enough room for Rice in this if I wanted to. You know, if you go down to 4.5, keep it from Sanchez, for example. But yeah, so I quite like this structure. Anyway, peeps, I'm off now. I just come on, have a rant, share my thoughts with you, and go off again. And I'll see you all on the show tonight, 6 p.m. UK time. So cheers for now then, peeps, and I'll talk to you all later.